Hey, good day, family. Pastor Jamal here. Hey, let's talk briefly, real quick, about being lukewarm. Being lukewarm. Now, man, there are so many layers to this life, and there's so many explanations about things, man, that um, we could gloss over a lot of different revelation because we're just standing on one side of revelation. So when we think about being lukewarm, I think we think about being a Christian that got one foot in the world and one foot, in God stuff. That's kind of a way to say that. But I think a really, 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 it's not necessarily a clearer way to say this, but in the time that we are now, I think it's really critical and it's crucial that we start to kind of I don't know, allow God to give us deeper revelation in certain areas. And I'm specifically really talking about there is information, there are talks, that's been going on for centuries. But as we are, we're in this world, we got social media, we got all ways to deliver information. So people are getting wind of things a lot faster, quicker, sooner, and in greater number. So then when something is divided in that capacity, then that means it's compounded. And that means it's doing more damage. If it's damaging, it's doing more damage than it is good. So what am I talking about? So we have always heard about people, whether they're atheists, agnostics, just unbelievers, people who the Bible doesn't sit well with. And mainly because of the stories that they hear. So they hear stories in the Bible, and then, they hear this God saying, wipe out this whole town or this whole city, kill the women and the kids and the cattle and all this and all that, or the men and capture the women or blah, blah, blah. And, you get it like, wow, God says this, especially when we live in a society now that, advocates rules and laws where, you can't do those things. And the people that do, they're imprisoned, or they get the death penalty, or they die according to their sword. You know what I mean? If you're a criminal or you're a crook and you live that way and you get caught, you're going to die as a criminal, right? So our society points us to these kind of ideas and these truths. So then when we come up against our God looking like this thing, then a lot of people, they don't it doesn't sit well with them. But there's another reason why. There's another reason why they give up and they allow that strategically demonic seed to be planted that way. And one major reason is because they haven't learned how to be a true follower yet. So when you don't know what God is doing, when you haven't learned how to be a true follower, when you haven't surrendered and yielded yourself to the Spirit of God in a way that really releases God's truth in your mind and your will and your emotions and your soul and your spirit, then you're just kind of left looking around for the pieces. And and I'm not even judging it, because I understand what that feels like when you're searching for God the way that somebody told you to search for God, and it doesn't lead you anywhere. So the next result is, well, what is truth? Well, who is right? You know what I mean? So then we start latching on to a lot of these different ideas because it's the only thing that makes sense now. Because if God is not answering, if I'm praying, if I'm doing what God says, I'm praying and I'm reading and blah, 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 and yet I can't get my rent paid or whatever it is, then God must not be real. If he didn't heal my mama, you know what I mean, and I'm praying and I'm crying and the church is doing it, then God must not be real. Something must be off. That is not the case. And the trick of the enemy is to plug you into a kingdom that is not God's kingdom. And the result of being plugged into a kingdom that's not God's kingdom is a life of the rule of that kingdom. So what do I mean? If you are or plugged into the kingdom of, let's just say, viruses, that means you have bought into the truth and to the ideas that viruses are real. These are what viruses can do. If I touch a virus, if I get close to a virus, then I'm dead. So you start to build or encamp yourself around a structure that's going to keep you safe from the viruses, or how do you say this? You're plugged into this information, and the information tells you in order to live in this atmosphere of viruses, in this kingdom of viruses, these are the things that you have to do. So you buy into it, and then you start to really experience the facts and the truth about being in this kingdom. We have a lot of different kingdoms inside of this one universe, but the Bible talks to that. The Bible says that God's kingdom is the strongest. There's nothing that can overthrow God. But the thing is, if you're not in God's kingdom, then you cannot participate in the activity or the benefits of being in that kingdom. God's kingdom trumps the virus kingdom. He trumps the kingdom of men. He trumps the nature. You know what I mean? God can do what God wants to do because he created it all. But unless you plug into that kingdom and that system, you're going to always be subject to the other kingdoms that you have decided to kind of live in or live with. I hope it makes sense, because it's crucial, because you have to understand, when you don't live in God's kingdom, you can't understand God's kingdom. So when you read things that can only be deciphered by the Spirit, the Spirit of God's kingdom, then you're left with a false identity of what and who God is. And as a result of living in a false identity or a false kingdom, then you don't benefit from everything that God is trying to get you to understand that he is. So, you know what I always say, y'all, I hope it makes sense to you, because it has to pass through layers of flesh to get to the place where revelation dwells. So let that revelation come, and don't be imprisoned by these tactics anymore. God has a kingdom. He has a specific place with a specific rule. If you do not understand that, if you're not aware of it, then you cannot benefit from the beauty and the love and the royalty and the reality of that kingdom. Pastor Jamal, Rising Ground Church. I'll talk to you. Peace.